What would you do if you were given the opportunity to break free from the chains of poverty and live an exceptional life? If you could build a system that would both make you money and free up time for you independent of your time and energy, what would you do if you were given such an opportunity? If you answered that question by saying, I would grab the opportunity with both hands and change my life, well, friend, you're in luck. Because in this podcast episode, I'm going to give you a step-by-step plan on how you can do just that. My name is Nathan J. Bishop, and this is Maximum Impact Unleashed. See, according to the laws of aerodynamics, bees should not be able to fly. Luckily, bees don't give a damn. Not a damn about what men think about what bees can and cannot do. And so bees fly anyway. There is no spoon except the spoon in your mind. And there are no limitations except those which are self-imposed and are mental. Apartheid is an Afrikaans word that means apartness. This is more than just a word. Apartheid was the systematic racial discrimination and segregation that existed in South Africa from 1948 to the early 1990s. This system was designed to establish and maintain the superiority of the white minority over the non-white or black majority in South Africa. From the Separate Amenities Act, which prohibited non-whites from accessing certain schools, certain hospitals, and certain public spaces, which were obviously of a better quality and better maintained, to the Group Areas Act, which designated certain residential areas by race, meaning white South Africans had access to better living conditions, whereas non-white South Africans were given what was left. To the Bantu educational system, which standardized the curriculum non-white South Africans would get, meaning they were only trained in areas of manual labor, they should work with their hands and never with their minds. To the Suppression of Communism Act, which prohibited opposition political parties, meaning if there was an individual or organization who was against the apartheid regime, which was a regime that was designed to establish and maintain the superiority of the white minority over the black majority, if anybody stood up against this regime, they would be imprisoned or worse, they would be killed. Within the apartheid system, non-white South Africans or black South Africans could live a happy life provided they did it within the parameters of apartheid. Now, over the years, like in many other countries, a resistance was formed. The ANC, led by Nelson Mandela, saw the system for what it was. A system of laws which govern the nature of all black South Africans' experience. And if they could change the rules, they would change the experience, and that is exactly what they did. And today, I live in a democratic South Africa where all are equal under God, there is equality of opportunity, and all are free to vote. Now, is South Africa perfect? Absolutely not, but nothing ever is. But at least I got to see in my lifetime a group of people who stood up against the rules written by the system or those who control the system. They changed the rules and changed the outcome, thus changing our experience. Now, I'm not suggesting that the economic system is designed to oppress you or suppress you. Not in the least. I'm only trying to point out that all systems are designed to do two things. One, to benefit those who build, control, and write the rules to the system, and keep those working in the system dependent on the system. You see, the first step to overcoming the financial fallacy of employment and to blazing your own path to wealth creation is this: choosing to see the system for what it is. Now, let me ask you this question. Is the economic system, one, a disjointed collection of various organizations where the outcomes are random and unpredictable, or is the economic system, two, a carefully constructed machine and the outcomes are both repeatable and predictable? You see, the magic of systems, and more specifically, the magic of very large systems, is the interconnectedness of the microsystems acting within the larger system. Let me explain. Just like a car is a system designed to take you from point A to point B as safely as possibly, but is made up of a number of microsystems, that being the steering system, the internal combustion system, the ignition system, and the braking system. Though each one of these microsystems perform a very different function, they all work towards the same purpose. Let's look at two of the microsystems within the larger system that is a vehicle. There is the braking system and the internal combustion system. The internal combustion system is designed to get the vehicle to move. The braking system is designed to get the vehicle to stop. Not only are these functions different, they are diametrically opposed. However, even though they serve different functions which seem in opposition to one another, they serve the same purpose. And what is that purpose? To get you from point A to point B as safely as possible. The same is true for the economic system. Though the microsystems within the economic system have different functions in that they do different things, they all work to the same purpose or the same goal. Governments back student debts by guaranteeing banks that if students default on their loan repayments, the governments will print more money and pay the banks back the money. Banks issue out student debt to future employees in the promise of income from future production, but would never issue out bank loans to future entrepreneurs with the same promise. More than 80% of people who graduate from conventional educational institutions enter the employment market, and less than 20% of people who graduate from the same institutions go on to become entrepreneurs. Once they graduate, they are required to pay back the loans in a repeatable and predictable fashion every single month. The only vehicle that gives people money in the same frequency, which will allow them to pay it back at that frequency, is the employment market. Though the various microsystems within the economic system do different functions, they serve the same purpose. Number one, to benefit those who've built, control, and therefore write the rules to the system. But number two, to keep those working in the system dependent on the system. So here's my question to you. What is your position in the economy? Are you the one who owns and controls the system and can therefore write the rules in your favor? Or are you the one working in the system, thus dependent on it? If you can acknowledge that you are a component in the system and are happy with your lot, then I wish you the best. More power to you. You not only know that you are dependent on the system, but have accepted it and you are fine with it. So go on and do your thing. But if, like me, you were not even aware that not only is this system designed to benefit not yourself, because you are working in the system, but those who write the rules to the system, and you want to break free from the system and build your own system so that you can write the rules in your favor, then you are already on the right path because you see the system for what it is. But that's only the first part to the equation. You must now also see yourself for what you are. So much more than just a component in the economic system. You are capable of writing the rules and writing those rules in your favor for yourself and your family for generations to come. But for this to happen, you must ask yourself this very important question. Who do I have to become? What do I have to do so that I can rewrite the rules in my favor? And that's where the second step comes in. You see, the second step to overcoming the financial fallacy of employment and blazing your own path to wealth creation is understanding this. Before you can rewrite the rules to the system in your favor, you must first build the system. It works like this. He who builds the system gets to write the rules by which the system operates. And as already mentioned, the system is designed to do two things. Number one, benefit those who control and therefore write the rules to the system. And number two, keep those working in the system dependent on it. Now, while it may not be obvious at first, the system must give those working in the system what they both want and need, or else why would they be dependent on the system in the first place? You see, the economy is predicated on free trade. Willing buyer, willing seller. Meaning everybody gets to get what they want in a trade. When it comes to the economic system, everybody gets what they want. Those working in the system, above all else, want to become rich. They want to make more money, which is exactly why those who write the rules to the system give away their money so that they can buy the experts' time. Who are the experts? Those working in the system. Whereas those who write the rules to the system and have built the system want something totally different, completely opposite to those working in the system. What do they want? They want to become wealthy. They want to live an exceptional life. Now, what does that mean? They want to do what they want to do, wherever they want to do it, with whomever they want to do it with, without jeopardizing their livelihoods. Now, while you can get rich working in the system, in that you can make a whole lot of money, you cannot become wealthy. And if you cannot become wealthy, you cannot live an exceptional life, because an exceptional life is predicated on you doing what you want to do, whenever you want to do it, with whomever you want to do it with. But if you have to work for someone else, you have to give up that life so that you can work for that person so that they can pay you money. Yes, you get the money, but you don't get to have the exceptional life. But again, this is a free trade, because those working in the system and who are dependent on the system, above all else, want more money. Those who write the rules are ever ready to pay the experts for their time and energy. Being wealthy and living an exceptional life are one and the same thing. The two most important components to being wealthy or living an exceptional life are freedom and peace of mind. Freedom is having the power to do, speak, and think as one so desires. So, if money were not a problem, what would you do? Where would you go, and who would you spend your time with? The longer you can do this, the more wealthier you are. Once you've answered this question, and once you are able to do these things, you now have freedom. But freedom alone isn't enough. If your freedom jeopardizes your livelihood, then you are not living an exceptional life. So the other part of the equation is peace of mind. Not having to worry about what you will eat, where you will live, and if you will be secure. Thankfully, we can calculate your peace of mind, and here's how. If your annual cost of living is $6,000 a year and you have $6,000, well, if you did not work for a year, you would be fine. You wouldn't have to worry about what you would eat, where you would stay, or whether or not you were secure. If you wanted to live 10 years with peace of mind and it took you 12 months to save $6,000, then you would have to work and save for 10 years for you to have another 10 years of peace of mind. That's because 6,000 times 10 is 60,000. However, 10 years of working to save up money to live 10 years with peace of mind is not a good strategy for wealth creation. And that is because money and time are not equal. Money is both abundant and ever increasing, which means it decreases in value by inflation. Time, and more specifically your time, is both scarce and running out. And so working 10 years of your life, giving up the opportunity for 10 years to live an exceptional life so that you can live the next 10 years of your life with peace of mind, is not a good strategy for wealth creation. And I highly recommend against going about it this way. Instead, a better route is, while working, you want to live below your means so that you can save a portion of your money, not to buy more time for yourself in the future, but to buy the time of others in the present. You're going to use the money to both build a system that you own and can therefore write the rules for, and you're going to buy the time of other experts so that they can work in that system, because it's not about how much money you can work for and save, but it's about how much money you can generate in the present and put back into circulation so that it can compound on your income. So now the next obvious question to ask is, how do I build such a system for myself? And that is where the next step comes in. As I've already mentioned, the economic system is a very large system made up of a number of microsystems. Because there are a number of microsystems, there are multiple decision makers in those systems. And because there are multiple decision makers, there are many people making rules, thus many people benefiting from the systems because they write the rules. Now, when we look through the eyes of history, Even though there are a number of microsystems within the larger economic systems, there is a clear driver of the economy. The four major microsystems within the economic system are the governments, the banks, the educational, and employment systems. The employment systems are the businesses in the economy. From John D. Rockefeller, who was an industry titan and dominated the oil sector, and later on founded the General Education Board, which dictated what the curriculum was in the educational institutions so that it could benefit his agenda, to BlackRock, a single company that controls more than half of the world's wealth, not a nation's wealth, but half of the world's wealth. It is very clear to see that the economy is driven by those who build business systems, and not just any business, not small business, not medium-sized business, but big business. So I would 100% make the argument that if you are going to build a system, and if you want to blaze your own path to wealth creation, then your best bet is not just in building a system. You're not going to start a governmental system. You're not going to start a banking or educational system. The best bet for you to build a system and rewrite the rules in your favor is to build a business system, more specifically, a big business system. Which means the next obvious question to ask is, how do I build a big business system? Well, to be considered big business, your business must tick these three boxes. Number one, market size. Number two, market reach. And number three, scalability. Let's look into each one of these. Market size. The easiest part to become a billionaire is to solve a problem that 1 billion people are both willing and able to pay for the solution. Even if you charged $1 for the solution, if 1 billion people were willing and able to pay for it, you would become a billionaire. Where those working in the economic system's wealth creation formula is rate times time, those who write the rules to the system, their wealth formula is price times volume. And because their formula is not predicated on time, they get to become wealthy in the here and now and not some day distant in the future. And that is why market size is so important, because it deals with volume. Let's look at the second criteria, market reach. You see, if your business is limited by geography or time zone, meaning if you have a business in South Africa, but you've got demand in Canada, then you are simply not going to be able to satisfy that demand and capitalize on the sale, because you are not open when Canadians are ready to buy your products, nor are you able to get your products to ready buyers because you are separated by location. For a business to be considered big business, not only should there be enough demand, enough volume, you have to be able to reach the volume to get them to give you their money in exchange for your product or service, and then you've got to give them the product or service. But the final aspect is scalability. Now, many people confuse revenue growth for profit growth, and they are not the same thing. Let me explain. With revenue growth, yes, you make more money, but it also costs you more money to make more money. With profit growth, which is a function of scalability, you make more money and it doesn't cost you more money to make that money. Let me explain. Let's suppose you opened up a salon. Not considering the startup costs, there will be an operating cost, the cost to run your salon. You will need a property, you will need equipment, and you will need labor. Now, let's assume that you are the operator, the labor in your business doing hair. And let's suppose with your current premises, you can only do 10 heads a day. In that case, if your demand doubled, meaning instead of 10 people wanting to do their hair with you, 20 people now wanted to get their hair done with you. This would break your business model, because you simply could not satisfy the demand. For you to satisfy the demand and make more money, you would have to get an additional premises, you would have to get additional equipment, and you would have to get an additional operator doing hair at that premises. Yes, you would make more money, but it would also cost you more money. It would double your expenditure to meet that double-sized demand. This is exactly why you don't scale a business, but you build a business for scale. When a business is scalable, whether the business has a demand of one customer or a million customers, the expenditure remains the same. With revenue growth, the growth is linear. With profit growth, the growth is exponential. And the key is keeping the downside very small by limiting the operating expenditure while having an infinite upside by being able to satisfy as much demand as is humanly possible. Now, how on earth are you going to build a business, not just a business system, but a big business system? Because you may be saying, look, I don't have the money or the know how. I'm not sure how I'm going to get it done. Well, the internet has made it possible for you to start a business in your bedroom and tick all three boxes. You see, big business isn't an indication of how big the building is because the building points to expenditure, not sales. And profit is a function of sales. There are approximately 8 billion people on the planet. There are approximately 5 billion people who are currently on the internet. If your business exists on the internet, it means all 5 billion people have access to your business. That deals with both the market size and the market reach. But what about scalability? Well, the internet has made it possible for you to build a business with little to no money. You can make the product once and sell it a near infinite amount of times, provided the product is digital, which means the easiest product to scale is something digital. And the easiest thing to digitize is information. So for you to build a business, in fact, for you to build a big business system, all you've got to do is answer this question. What do I know that I could position as the solution to someone else's problem? And how can I leverage the power of the internet to get that product to wherever they are, whenever they are, time zone, in exchange for their money? This, my friend, is how you build a system that you control and can therefore write the rules for, rules that are in your favor. And now you know the facts. The economy isn't a disjointed collection of various organizations where the outcome is random and unpredictable, but instead it is a carefully constructed machine which is designed to produce an outcome which is both repeatable and predictable. While you can become rich working in the system, you will also have to be dependent on the system because the system is designed to benefit those who control the system and can therefore write the rules to the system, but it's designed to keep those working in the system dependent on the system. And that system is just a collection of rules or laws. And while there are two types of laws, one, laws of nature, which are immutable and affect the nature of our experience in that we were all born and will all die, and there's nothing we can do to change that. The rules that govern the system are the laws of man, which are ever changing. And these laws affect the nature of our experience. If you want to change your experience, you simply need to change the laws. And to change the laws, you must build a system and rewrite the rules in your favor. And finally, that the best system for you to build is a business system, more specifically, a big business system, a system which gives you market size, market reach, and scalability. If it doesn't tick all of these three boxes, then you are not building a system that will allow you to overcome the financial fallacy of employment and allow you to blaze your own path to wealth creation. If what you took away from this podcast episode was, man, I did not even know that I was living a lie, that I cannot become wealthy working for someone else. In fact, working for someone else is how I make that person wealthy. To become wealthy, I cannot work in the system, but must build my own system so that I can write the rules in my favor. If that's what you took away, then I've got something really awesome, a gift for you. I've recorded this free masterclass training that is designed to show you how to do just that. It is a step-by-step guide on how you can build a profitable online business with little to no money in 12 weeks max. I'm going to link to it in the description. All you need to do is click on that link and give me your best email address so that I could send the training to you. It is under 30 minutes long and it is full of actionable steps you can take to build a big business system from your bedroom for yourself. In the next 3 podcast episodes, we're going to deal with the last of the 3 forces working against you living an exceptional life, and it is the curse of mediocrity. This is a big one, so you definitely don't want to miss out. My name is Nathan J. Bishop, and this is Maximum Impact Unleashed.